All right, Joe. January 17th, 2015. Man, what a great show leading up to New Year's Knockout on January 31st.
No kidding, PK. I'll tell you something. I am so excited. I am so pumped for the 31st. And I'll tell you something. We had some great matches tonight to warm up for that show.
Man, the show started off with a big bang. A battle royal to determine two winners who will go into the Sole Survivor at New Year's Knockout. Man, we had Curtis Coleman. We had your favorite, Taco. We had Keith Cage and Dr. Bad. And Joe, what it came down to was all of a sudden, in the middle of this battle royal, his music comes on and here comes the Monster Z.
That's right. He wants his shot. He wants to be the sole survivor.
Well, he would love to be Ultimate Champion again, Joe. He is our longest reigning Ultimate Champion that we've ever had.
Absolutely.
But it came down to him and Curtis Coleman. Yep. They were the two winners, and then they started going at it to the point where security had to break up the match.
Total pandemonium in the ring, PK. I tell you something. That was a great way to start the evening. The two victors just fighting it like cats and dogs, PK.
I don't know if there were two victors. One was named Z and one was named Curtis Coleman.
Oh, you know what I'm talking about, PK. Will you shut up?
Well, Joe, then we had Scorn versus Wasabi. This was a Generations title championship. That's Wasabi right. Came back. He's been gone for a while. Not his usual high-flying self, though. Seemed a little bit different.
You could say he seemed a little more grounded than usual. Wasn't all doing his flying trapeze tricks and ninja stuff that he always does to show off to the crowd. Yeah, he was a little more subdued this time, a little more sober, should I say.
Well, Joe, ultimately he wound up pinning Scorn with a... Actually, no, I take that back. He made Scorn submit with a Snell lock, and he became our new Generations champion.
Yeah, it looks like Scorn wasn't worthy of that championship after all.
Well, then we had Rod Bolt versus Hardworking Hollywood for the #1 contenders match for the corporate championship held by the Highlander Johnny Walker. Johnny Walker was ringside to look at the match, yep. And Rod Bolt comes out wearing his kilt.
Yeah, well, so I don't see any big deal about that, but okay.
All right, well, nothing about flaunting around stolen goods. But anyways, I'll tell you something, Joe, it was a great match, but ultimately, Rod Bolt was laying down in the middle of the ring. Hardworking Hollywood was going for his finishing maneuver when he gets hit in the back of the head by the briefcase by Percival the lawyer, Rod Bolt's lawyer. Hardworking Hollywood falls on top of Rod Bolt with his shoulders down on the mat. They both get counted out, and ultimately, the Highlander, Johnny Walker, goes, "Look, I'll face them both at New Year's Knockout in a triple threat match."
That's right, PK. I'll tell you, so that's one of the great matches that I'm looking forward to in 2 weeks. I can't wait to see that triple threat match, and of course, I can't wait to see a new champion in the around the waist, a championship belt around the waist of Rod Bolt.
Oh.
You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, Hardworking Hollywood. You just said it. Okay, but well, Joe, actually, I gotta stand corrected. It's a three-way dance. Will be the style of match that'll be that night, and I'm looking forward to it.
Well, way to take away, mislead me here.
Well, Joe, you're easily misled. Well, then we had White Trash with Chives versus Bobby Lee and the Good Old Boys, his cousins Shaggy and Cletus. And Joe, I'll tell you something, very interesting match. It was like Duck Dynasty meets Beverly Hillbillies.
Yeah, I know, the Duke Boys or whatever. I tell you something, it looked like Hee-Haw threw up in that ring.
Well, Joe, ultimately, Bobby Lee hit Jimmy Lee with a hay baler and got the win, and finally got a little vengeance on his cousin.
Yeah, sure. You know what? That's great. But you know what? I think that's far from over. We're going to see more of that in the future.
No doubt about that. Then, Joe, we had one of the most physical matches of the night after that. Will Caution versus Murder One.
Oh, yeah, Murder One. I'll tell you something. He came in with a mission. And that is to show that although Will Caution has all the hunger and all the growth that he has experienced, he was still the bigger man, and Murder One was still the bigger guy. And I'll tell you something, that match was physical. It went back and forth, but what an ending, PK.
Man, Joe, Murder One hit Will Caution with a clothesline. I mean, Joe, I call it the clothesline heard around the world. Will Caution does a whole 1.5, lands flat on the mat.
Unbelievable. I thought he got decapitated.
Man, Murder One pinned him 1, 2, 3 for the victory.
Couldn't believe it.
Well, then we had Kit Bryson versus Lane Cross.
Well, I'll tell you something, that was a really good match, I would say. And Lane Cross, that is a man that has just dominated the Carolinas, their world of wrestling. And now he's come down here to Georgia to show us how it's done there in the Carolinas. And I'll tell you something, he did an amazing job. Kit Bryson, yeah, he did a pretty good job when he remembered the things that Rod Bolt taught him.
Well, Joe, there's a lot of credit going towards Rod Bolt. Ultimately, though, I'll tell you something. Lane Cross, He hit Kip Bryson with a Canadian destroyer, and he got the win. I'll tell you something. He's done that twice now. And what a devastating finishing maneuver.
The Archangel Lane Cross, I'll guarantee all you ditch diggers out there, he is just getting started here in the OSWA.
Well, Joe, then we had Zach Daniels versus some newcomer in a match named Johnny Pinhead for the last Sole Survivor qualifying match.
I tell you, PK, that was a shocker.
No doubt.
First time I'd ever seen this Johnny Pinhead. Came in dancing around to Johnny Be Good. And let me tell you something, he really shocked the wrestling universe tonight.
Well, Joe, I'll tell you something, he had a lot of help. Murder One came out with a metal object, wound up hitting Zach Daniels while his manager, Kevin, was distracting the ref. Zach Daniels goes down, and Johnny Pinhead winds up getting the win and qualified for the Sole Survivor.
So apparently Johnny Pinhead, at least for now, is here to stay. It was his big debut tonight, and what an introduction by getting into the Sole Survivor match.
No doubt, Joe. Then we had Ken O'Sullivan versus Chad Silva. It was a non-title match, and Joe, I'll tell you something. Ken O'Sullivan put up a good fight.
Absolutely.
Did a lot of damage to the knee of Chad Silva.
Once again, that Achilles heel.
But Joe, I'll tell you something. Our champion, in true form, hit Ken O'Sullivan with a spin kick to the head, and he pinned him. You know, I think, in my opinion, if Ken O'Sullivan would have got the win, that really would have put him in contention for the Ultimate Championship. I think he demonstrated that he can still handle it. It might just take him a little bit longer to get there.
I have a feeling he'll be there one of these days. Chad Silva, yeah, sure, he does a great job, and he's really good at pleasing the people and politicking and all that other great stuff. But let's face it, that knee is getting weaker and weaker every show, and I think that his time will be up real soon.
Well, Joe, then we had a tag title match. The tag team specials actually is more or less a handicap map. Jake Hughes only versus the Dominion, the Monster Z, and Vengeance.
And it was a handicap match in more ways than one. Yeah, it was Jake Hughes versus the two in Dominion, Z and Vengeance. However, he also had a pretty tender foot, too. He was limping around. I'm surprised he had the audacity, or should I say the stupidity, to go in there and face the Dominion all by himself and with a major leg injury.
Well, Joey did come in with the knee brace on, and they attacked that like white sharks in blood in the water. And I'll tell you something. Ultimately, what happened was McFly did make an appearance. He came back from the year 2069, he did get into the ring, but unfortunately, it was too late. They wind up hitting hitting Jake Hughes with the Purge for the win.
Well, let me correct.
And now we've got new tag team champions.
Yeah, well, first I want to correct it so that all you ditch diggers out there from Demarest and all you Cornelian can collectors will remember this. He did not come back from the year 2069. No, he came back from the hospital. He had just checked himself out way prematurely and way against the doctor's order. Once again, another stupid choice on the part of the tag team specialist, and those two choices, the one that he made and the one that Jake Hughes made, cost him the title.
Well, Joe, I'll tell you something. Our next show, January 31st, New Year's Knockout here at the O Arena, and I'll tell you something. We got some great matches already lined up. Like I said, a three-way dance between the Highlander Johnny Walker versus Hardworking Hollywood versus Rod Bolt. I'm telling you, I can't wait to see Johnny Walker get his hands on Rod Bolt.
Yeah, I'll be looking forward to that too. But I look forward to even more in that match is Rod Bolt getting that rightful championship around his waist.
And then, Joe, then we got Goth Black versus the White Knight Sir Facade.
That is a match that I anticipate will be one of the greatest matches we have seen here in the OSWA, because we got the White Knight, one of the greatest competitors to get into that ring, versus one of the most devastating men that has ever walked into the state of Georgia, Goth Black.
Then, Joe, we've got Chad Silva, our Ultimate Champion, defending his title against Jake Hughes. I'll tell you something, both these guys had very damaging matches leading up to this, so I'm interested to see how well they recover and how well they wrestle each other. That's a tough one for me to call. I can't tell you if it's going to be Jake Hughes that's going to take that one home or Chad Silva.
Can't tell either, PK, but I'll tell you something, they better play it smart, because I have a feeling that even though they're damaged, even though they're injured, they're going to put all too much heart into it, and they could do some serious and permanent damage to themselves.
And then, Joe, of course, we got the Sole Survivor match. 10 men, 5 teams, 4 matches, but only one sole survivor, who will then go to Heroes and Villains to take on whoever is the Ultimate Champion at that time. Folks, we look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks, January 31st, here at the O. It's going to be a regular show. It's going to be the New Year's Knockout. Please, if you've already come for the first 2 shows this month, you get $5 off your ticket. We look forward to being here. We look forward to doing the recap for that.
Absolutely.
You can always catch up with the action at oswaentertainment.com, youtube.com/oswaentertainment, and of course, facebook.com/oswaentertainment. And you can follow us at OSWA Entertainment on Twitter. We appreciate our fans. We look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks.